The Intercultural Cities Network started back in 2008, and it involves pioneer cities in Europe that have been testing and applying the intercultural integration paradigms in their urban policies in all areas, in housing, education, urban space, in the field of business development, employment.
Well, it's a project that started, let's say, 5 years ago with an idea from Council of Europe how to help migrants to get integrated into societies, but not only migrants, all kind of minorities, all people that represent diversity. They were invited, they were concerned.
Well, we start by saying, let's get away from the discourse which is all about extreme issues, about whether we should wear the burqa or not, or all these things that get people very, very, very angry. Let's look at the things that concern people for 95% of their lives, about their schools, about their housing, about their social life, about sport, about what they read in the paper. These are the things that matter, and let's look at them in a new way. As we say, let's look at them through an intercultural lens.
At the moment, the cities that are involved in building intercultural strategies are more than 60. And some work at the European level and exchange good practice and support each other, and some others work at a local level, for instance in Italy, or Portugal, Spain, Ukraine.
I mean, Dublin is a very old city, but we have a lot of nationalities here now. We have 120 different languages spoken on the streets if you go out and about town.
There is a number of about 11,000 immigrants staying in Patras, becoming residents already, having their families and become citizens of the city itself.
Well, if you look at the population of Rotterdam, then 46%, is almost half of the population, has a multicultural background. So to us, it's a feature. It's a way we have and we see in the city, and we benefit from.
We have actually we have three minorities. No one is a majority in Subotica. Most of them are Croats, Hungarians and Serbs. Maybe the most difficult thing will be to involve people who came in past 20 years to Subotica to the city life, and to implement all those issues which are provided by the law of the national minority rights.
It's not an attempt to find the most intercultural cities in Europe or in the world. It's an attempt to find a group of honest cities who are prepared to say, we're prepared to open ourselves up, to experiment, to try new things, to take some risks.
So interculturality actually has an application in all different areas of urban policies. So the cities that are part of the network are actually implementing intercultural policies.
I suppose three practical manifestations of interculturalism that I particularly like. One is a football tournament that we ran. The City Council was involved in running. It was an intercultural football tournament to try and bring the cultures together, because football sport is a great way of getting people working together.
So one of the things we've done is starting a campaign, and it's called 100% Rotterdam, 100% diverse, and I think that says it all.
I think some of the assets of Oslo is that we have a very well public services, which means that schools have been equal possible for everyone, which also includes our new countrymen, and we do have at this time very good working conditions. We have a lot of alliances in the public sector, in the private sectors, in the business sectors, and it seems we find out that lots of people are just working at the same targets.
Our main focus is to focus on those social factors, getting education to all, getting employment to as many as possible, and getting reasonable housing to all who comes to Oslo.
In Sweden, I've started a lot of grassroots movement with the second generation primarily, and I started, for example, a magazine that became a movement in Sweden. The name of the magazine was Gringo, and what we did was give a correct view of the intercultural areas that otherwise are described as dangerous, poor, ugly, you know, every bad adjective you can find, it's the ones used to describe us and our areas. So making a magazine that became a blast in the whole of Sweden, telling how great we were, was a bit of you know, black is beautiful mentality.
We put special emphasis in the education center, since we believe that by letting from very young age, from children and schools and pupils, when you move on about this spirit of respecting the other and feeling open to a diverse environment going around you, that could be an excellent platform for later on, for those who would be citizens themselves in Patras.
We provide business advice, support, training and guidance to members of the community who are interested in starting a business. You have a targeted amount of people, for instance, who you would like to start in business. Sometimes we try to find a method of engaging with those people and empowering them and enthusing them to actually do something with their life. It may be starting a business, it may be getting a job, it may be going into training, but it's about making a difference in their lives.
We are in Dublin because many things have started from Dublin. Dublin was among the very few first cities or municipalities who decided to join the program. There will be workshops where all different participants will exchange, challenge what they think it's good or not, and what is the way forward. So that is why it is Milestone. And maybe in 20 years' time, 50 years' time, when you and I meet again, you will say, well, it was really a milestone in Dublin.
There's a growing community of cities outside Europe that want to implement the intercultural model, such as Mexico City, Montreal, cities in Japan and Korea, and in the United States.
The concept of diversity is still new to Japan, but I think we do need to make more diverse society so that we could revitalize our society and as well as our economy.
In 2010, Mexico City joined the Intercultural Cities program as the first approach to make a new policy on intercultural issues, migrants care and human mobility.
For me, interculturality is natural because I grew up I was raised in that manner. I had Hungarian nanny, so I speak Hungarian almost as good as my mother tongue. And it is the future, because every conservatism and nationalism and chauvinism leads to really, really bad things. We've witnessed that on a worse way in past 20 years in Serbia.
My parents came from Spain, actually with 5 kids, my siblings, and I was born in Sweden in the early 80s. So many of the things we're talking about today are things that we have been in the areas where I grown up. You know, I've grown up in the most intercultural areas of Sweden before the expression existed.
And so I think what we've done for cities, we haven't come along and give them lots of answers to things. That's not how you develop. You don't grow as a child or as a city by someone else giving you the answers. What we've done is asked different questions.
So intercultural means understanding of each other. This is very difficult because daily life sometimes puts us in front of many challenges. But it's an obligation because we all came from somewhere.
think it's somewhere in between, you know, integration and multiculturalism. I think it's somewhere in the middle. And if you ask 5 different people what interculturalism is, it's everybody will have a slightly different answer.
For instance, recognition of diplomas for qualified migrants, or civic rights, right to vote at the local level for foreigners, naturalization. There are a lot of issues that have to be solved at national level. So my dream is that national policies actually support the intercultural cities work.
If you just look at how people live their lives now, they don't identify just with one group or two groups, they identify with similar groups, and they want to be Dutch, they want to be Turkish, but they also want to be a youngster, they also want to be somebody who likes to do something else in their free time.
Come on, guys, this is a problem that we all share. Let's roll our sleeves up and deal with it.